We've gone past the half-hour mark here. Stadium in Takwa is the mauve and yellow of Medeama to crestfallen. Any mystical happenings, no magic, no miracle can save them from dropping out of the top flight.
Go back, to the Division 1 and try and find their way back to the top flight again. Not just the sort of season one would have envisaged for, a side like Wonders after, all that they did in the Division 1 and route to their promotion. I think it's been an awful season for them.
That's the reality of the top flight. There's no child's play, and Wonders would have to go back, prepare themselves, and return to play alongside the big boys. Here is Salim Adams, the goal scorer. It's a lovely switch to Yao on the right side. Brilliant control by the right back. Amu Mensah wants support. He finds Amu Mensah. Here is Forjo. Fuzi. To Jacob Mensah. Now Mubarak Youssef. Some confident playing at the back by the Medeama back four. Mensah tries to pick out Kingsley Braye. He's in for it alongside Afura Paul. He does want to pick out Joseph Ban. Here is Hamza Musa to Mohamed Isa. Edmond Afura Paul to Jibril. Here is Nkrumah. Now Angel Ewula. Mohamed Isa. Farouk Ameal. Lorraine Wonders trying to be decent in their possessive play. Although they are down by 2-0, they're still showing glimpses of some quality football. But Medeama will seize possession. Salim Adams shows great strength, shoves off Ewula, finds the first goal scorer, Kelvin Obin. Manuel Mante. Kelvin Obin back to Mante. Now Derek Forjo. Jacob Mensah. Kelvin Obin. His hold-up play is his biggest asset, and he's won the foul right before Robert Muse. Free kick for Medeama. Will Salim attempt this one as well?
And clearly their confidence is skyrocketed now. They're holding on to the ball, something they failed to do in the first 20 minutes of the game. Now it looks so comfortable for them, and you can see the fouls there. 14 to Wonders, just 2 committed by Medeama. Tells you how physical it's been for them. Well, now they are just finding it with so much ease. They're finding men in open spaces. They are advancing the ball so neatly now, and perhaps another chance for Adams to strike it again from a distance.
And this time, about 3 of them are showing interest. Asim Fuzi Taylor, Fatau Sulemana, and then the architect in chief, Salim Adams. He's got some brilliant free kick goals this season, Salim. Seventh of the season for him. Salim lines up, Fuzi steps up, and Sulemana shows up. Who goes for it this time for Medeama? Will it be Salim, Fatau, or Fuzi? Fatau will be fancying his chances of converting from this range. It's very much tilting to his direction as a left-footed player, but Fuzi has got the right bend in that right foot to go past the wall, and Salim can go with a straight delivery. It is Sulemana. That's horrible, disappointing from Sulemana.
Perhaps, and from that left-hand side, certainly you needed a lot of technique, so much power, but there should be so much swerve and some curve on the ball. I don't think that was just the right technique to hit that one past the wall.
So Salim expressing frustration with the outcome of Sulemana's delivery.
And the more your teammate makes, the more they are likely to trust you once the next one comes up. So for him, it's not too frustrating. They know that he's a specialist from such distances.
11 Wonders have conceded 48 goals this season in the top flight. The worst defensive side in the Premier League. Scored just 17. Desmond Tete. Here is Festus Nkrumah. Again, he's flagged offside. He's just about the fourth time Festus Nkrumah has been flagged offside from the left wing for 11 Wonders.
I think he's failing to time his runs at this point. It's also due to the fact that Medeama Sporting Club are playing very, very high up the pitch. You can see them throwing more men forward now. They feel they could get a couple of goals in this game as well.
Mohamed Issa, Salim slice into that tackle. Here comes Fuzi. Now, Obin. Hamza Musa gives away possession. Here is Salim Adams. Salim lays one onto the path of Kingsley Brier, but Farouk Amiao sticks a leg out and finds Joseph Ba.
I think there's a point where you have Medeama Sporting Club just trying to manage the game here. Well, their last 6 games hasn't really been good for them, especially the last home game where they missed the penalty and they squandered lots of chances. And to be 2 up right before the halftime break tells you how they've really struggled over the last couple of game weeks. But at least there's an indication that the 2 goals really gives them some sort of cushion and confidence, knowing that they could at least usurp Gold Stars at the top of the table until they go to a very, very difficult grounds to play.
Here is Derek Forjo to Jacob Amumensa. Salim has fallen so deep. He locates Albin right in the center. Fuzi picks out Mante. There was a late charge on Fuzi Taylor. He's left him down the pitch, and referee Muse whistles, holds play for Fuzi to be attended to.
That was a bit sloppy there, a bit clumsy. But just look at that, left it a bit late. Desmond Tete, he's just being more of a spectator than a part of this Wonders team throughout this game so far. We've not really seen him have any touches in the Medeama box so far. And that tackle clearly a result of how frustrated he's been.
Some 5 minutes away from the break. A tackle from Afurapo on Kingsley Brier, resulting in that Medeama foul. "40 minutes in Takwa." Medeama hanging on to those 2 goals by Kelvin Obin and Salim Adams. You're finding back the mojo after weeks of disappointment. Right before their home fans and games away from home. Lovely play from Amu Mensah. Here is Derek Forjo. Salim, Mante, Forjo. Lovely play from Medeama Sporting Club. It's pleasing. But Hamza Musa intercepts.
Yeah, there's the confidence now. They have it back perhaps not to where they would expect it to be, but against the struggling 11 Wonders side, if you've scored 2 or twice in the opening 40 minutes, that gives you some impetus, and that's not what we're seeing now from this Medeama side. No, they've really struggled, especially in your home games where you failed to beat Adriana FC, you failed to beat Hull United in your last 6 games.
4 shots on target for Medeama Sporting Club. 2 goals out of it for them. Gradually getting closer to the end of the first half as Kingsley Obin losing the challenge against Musa. Here is Afura Poe. Now Jibril. It was strange when Wonders decided to do business with All Blacks regarding the sale of Frank Awire, who was one of their prized assets at a period where it was obvious they were truly struggling in the league, and his exit has further deepened the cracks in the side. Ultimately left them relegated in the top flight.
It's a decision you'd still wonder, knowing that you're struggling, and the best player in you give up on that decision to just
Army out. And we are into stoppage time now. It's Medeama 2. Nil. First half of the stadium intact. 2 goals from Medeama, 1 from Kelvin Nkrumah, and the wealthy from Salim Adams, handing Medeama a comfortable 2-0 lead at the break. as they hope to regain their top spot on the Premier League before the outcome of Sunday's games, especially that one involving Karela and Gold Stars in Tamale. It's halftime here at the TNA Stadium in Takwa. It's Medeama 2, 11 Wonders 0.
All right, so the rain's beginning to come down right before halftime here at the TNA Stadium. Friday kickoff game, match week 27 between Medeama Sporting Club and then also 11 Wonders. Heading into the break, the hosts have a 2-0 advantage. Kelvin Obing getting another goal for Medeama, and then also Salim Adams with another glorious goal to make it 2-0 to the host. My name is Jose Okukwe, and now joining me at pitchside is Pius Gura, the assistant head coach of Medeama Sporting Club. Pius, content with the first half performance of your boys?
Yeah, sure. I think because we've gone a couple of games which we've now have a win. For that matter, this game means a lot to us. So we need to, we from the beginning we had to be on them or go on them till we get what we want. And then we up by 2. So I think this is fine.
6 games without a win. Now you lead 2 heading into the break. You would want to add a couple more, or it's time to manage the game till 90 minutes.
No, as you can see, we can score more. We can score more. So sure, I have the belief that we can score more, and we're going to add more goals. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. So that's Pius Gura. He is assistant head coach of Medeama Sporting Club. His side lead into the break 2-0. Now Kelvin Obing getting the first goal, and then also we saw Salim Adams with a wondrous strike there. I'm now being joined here by the assistant head coach of 11 Wonders. But how would you sum up the first 45 minutes of your side?
Well, the first 45 minutes has been a bit disastrous, given that our midfielders have just been running without any positional play exactly. But I must say that the coach has seen it and he's going to rectify that so that the second half we can come out stronger. So I believe that what we saw in the first half is not going to repeat itself again in the second. So
the first 15 minutes, we saw you put Medeama on the back foot. You took the game to them. You failed to score, though you created some openings. What changed after that?
Well, a few of the decisions by the referee, which resulted into goals. You know that in a game of football, once you lose the opportunities, you can be punished. And so I felt that at the point where we conceded first and then the second goal, it felt that the boys had lost something. But it's part of football, and we just have to psychologically set the boys up so that the second half they can come up stronger. So it's going to be like in the second half, it's going to be like a 0-0 affair for which the boys have to come back and then pull some surprise.
Thank you very much for your time here at Pittside. So it's still Friday kickoff, halftime here at the TNA Stadium. We head for a break. Where you're back, I'll be joined by my guest, Bismarck Vondi, and we'll break down all the happenings in the first half. Welcome back to the TRD Stadium. It's the host, Medeama Sporting Club, with a healthy 2-0 lead heading into the halftime break against 11 Wonders. Per the result currently, it means that Medeama Sporting Club are back to the summit of the table. That's until Gold Stars take on Kerala United away from home. But for 11 Wonders, once the result ends this way, it means officially they'll be relegated back to the Division 1. I'm still here with Bismarck Von D. Bismarck, you'd say that's just the best performance for a team that's not won any of their last 6 games.
Yes, I believe everybody thought Medeama was going to win the first half, and truly they are up by 2-0. And I should say this is a very good performance from the boys. You know, especially at the latter part of the game, like the last 15 minutes, Medeama were in control of the game, making sure they ease the pressure on them. You know, I mean, picking 3 points in your last 6 games or in your last 18 points put some sort of pressure on you. So when the game began, you could see Medeama were under pressure to get a goal.
Yeah.
And Kevin Obin came to the party to help Medeama take the lead. And I've already been saying I've been saying that in the league, if you want a striker who is so good with the head, nobody comes closer to Kevin Obin.
Wow. So that was the first goal he scored there, you know, just at the near post, and no one, you know, ensuring he wouldn't have, you know, or make any connection at all.
Yes, and this is the second goal that he scored with the head. In the FA Cup, he did same against Samatex here in TNA Stadium. And the second goal to Salim Adams.
That's also the second goal where it's gradually becoming a trademark goal. And just look at the execution there, the technique and the power behind the ball. And it's making some of these goalkeepers look average because they're so difficult dealing with these balls, isn't it?
Medeama had the same opportunity at the same position in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But then Salim Adams, Fatah made a run, and Salim had to pass the ball to Fatah. But then when the cross came out, Kevin and then the Bray couldn't connect the ball at the backside of the net.
Yeah.
So when the second free kick came, I knew definitely Salim was going to hit the ball at the back of the net. And for the second goal to another set piece, it means now Medeama Sporting Club are trying to be set piece experts, just like what Kwesi Dozu was doing some years ago for the team. Now Salim Adams is in the foots, doing the same thing for Medeama Sporting Club. And I think in the second half, Medeama should get a goal or 2 in addition, so that it will just ease the pressure off them. Even though in the last 20-15 minutes of the first half, you could see they were in control of the game. Especially, I saw Derek Fojo being given the free role to operate in midfield. He was found virtually all over the field, even though his indecisiveness was costing the team in a way, because whereas you thought the team was moving forward, Derek Fojo just brings, makes sure the game is restarted, which was very bad for Derek Fojo, especially in the last 15 minutes of the game. But in the second half, I believe maybe a goal or 2 will be very well for Medeama Sporting Club.
All right, so it's still halftime here at the TNA, and it is Medeama Sporting Club with a 2-0 advantage heading into the break. Kelvin Abing with a glancing header and another thunderous free kick from Salim Adams to make it 7 this season, and a chunk of it from dead ball situations. But what should they be doing now? You talk about Wonders, and this perhaps could cement, you know, or even, you know, endorse their relegation back to the Division 1. What should they be doing now?
Before this game, they've already accepted that they are going to relegation. Before this game, I mean Wonders. They've already accepted that they are going to relegation. Maybe they are playing it because they have to play this particular game. You know, in the next couple of games, I believe maybe they are going to struggle. They are struggling, except that in the last game that they played against Samatex, they were able to get a point out of that game. I mean, playing up against Medeama, who wants to be at the summit of the league table at the TNA Stadium, the pressure that has been mounted on these players and the technical team, trust you me, the guys knew they were going to lose in the first half. I mean, the Wonders players. In the second half, I don't expect much from them. Maybe they are going to protect the 2 goals that they are trailing, so that they may take some glory. If they are able to get a goal, I mean, it will be very positive for them. But for the 3 points, it is staying in Takwa here.
All right, so it's the players are out here warming up because second half is upon us. We go for a break and then we join Nana Dakwa Jesse in commentary.
Welcome back for second half action here at the TNA Stadium in Takwa. Medeama Sporting Club leading 11 Wonders by 2-0 and coming up with 2 substitutions right before the start of the second half. Kingsley Braye and Fatal Sulemana making way for Richard Appiah and Desmond Bafo respectively, as Medeama hope to consolidate their lead and hold on to top spot until after Sunday maybe.
With the first one, and then also we saw that big strike from Salim Adams.
And it's Salim who kickstarts the second half for Medeama. Interesting substitutions by Ibrahim Tanko right before the start of the second half. Fatal Suleiman and Kingsley Braye going off for Appiah and Bafo. For Desmond Bafo is a direct replacement at left back for Fatal Sulemana. Not too sure where Appiah fits in the midfield and attack for Ibrahim Tanko. Issa tries to pick out Asamoah on the right side but unable to keep the ball in. So Appiah is deployed on the right-hand side of attack, and that's predominantly where Kingsley Braye was playing from, alongside an occasional switch with Derek Forjo and sometimes step-ups to partner in Chroma to make up for a 2-man attack.
Yeah, information I'm picking up is that it's not due to injury, but just to manage the game and the situation for these key players heading into the remaining 7 games of the season. At this point, yeah, it's a 2-0 lead, and they know they just have to manage the game until the 90th minute, and walk away with 3 points, because there are other crucial games also coming up.
Kelvin Obin will now have to concentrate centrally alone. Festus. Issa has given away possession. Fuzi to Mante. Wonders take back possession. Here's Afurapo. Aiming at Asamoah. One of the brighter spots in this 11 Wonders side. Edmond Afurapo. Issa to Jibril. All the way back to goalkeeper Joseph Ban. When the two sides met in the first round of the Premier League, Medeama posted a 2-1 win over 11 Wonders at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium with God knows Jakasu scoring the opening goal. Daniel Lomote equalized for Wonders and Nana Kofi Berbil grabbed maximum points for Medeama with a winner. It was one of those runs that saw them keeping top spot for a total of 18 weeks before the slump last weekend. Che sends one away into the Wonders area. Furapo heads it down, but it goes straight to Apia.
Yeah, it's been a bit slow in the opening exchanges of the second half, and at this point, yeah, it clearly tells you how Medeama are just trying to get a win, you know, just to snap that, you know, losing or winless record. 6 games without a win for a side chasing the title, you know, doesn't really bode well for their title chances, and that's why we saw them, you know, within the intervals in the first half trying to go very hard, you know, even though they were just, you know, playing on the back foot for some time, but it's just been steady for them. They'll still want to get some more goals in this one.
It's been difficult spell for them in the last 6 weeks. 3 points, a paltry 3 out of a possible 18. Not a good signal for title chasers.
No, and in that time, you ask yourself how many points, you know, have been accrued by the leaders now, BBL Stars, and they've won 4 of their last 5. So it tells you that they've been able to gain on Medeama, you know, throughout that very, very terrible run.
For Wonders, it's a negative story. They are Division 1 bound and nothing can stop that. They've been at the bottom of the league from the very start of the campaign, maybe.
Oh, perhaps.
Odati Lamte left the job under strange circumstances. Then came J.E.A. Sapon, who left and decided to open up on the happenings within the club. Not pleasant stories to report about. And then Edu steps in, but have not been able to turn the situation around for them.
And that's a total of 17 weeks at the bottom and 15 consecutive weeks languishing at the basement of the league for them. And I think there'll be quite a lot of restructuring for them, looking at how they've really struggled in the top flight this season.
Fuzi Taylor. Mubarak Yusuf. Yusuf has had to deal with squandering 2 penalties this season in situations that could have gathered maximum points for Medeama. He'll be delighted that they're coming off that bad part in the last 6 weeks. Mubarak Yusuf aiming to win this Premier League as captain, with Medeama having starred for Liberty, Ashanti Gold and Asante Kotoko. He remains the most experienced player on the field this afternoon, Mubarak Yusuf.
And that's the reason why he's so crucial, you know, to that Medeama defensive setup. Likewise, Kelvin Obeying in attack also helping, you know, matters with his experience. And you rightly said it, missing those crucial penalties, one against, you know, Adriana here. wasn't really good. You know, the other Basake Holy Stars, a crucial game where maximum points would have aided their cause.
Issa, Farouk Amiao, Asamoah to Ewula. Now Farouk Amiao to Angel Ewula. Here is Issa to Jibril. Yause comes in with a tackle on Festus Nkrumah, but ends up with a slight injury. Complains that he was hit in the face.
Yeah, I think that was no kios. That just wasn't deliberate, but it looks like he's not happy, you know, with a tackle there. Yeah, I'll say. Again, you can see them not exerting too much energy now to win the ball off, you know, Wonders. They are keeping it with a mid block now.
Another throw in for 11 Wonders. Jibril's throw. Ewula. Hamza Musa. Farouk Amiao. Issa. Afura Paul. Here is Festus Nkrumah. Ewula tries to play the ball through for Nkrumah. Amu Mensah. Osei went in, but allowed Apia to step up for that one.
They're trying to move through the left channel now. Oh, they are creating the overloads there now. You have Jibril, Issa, Nkrumah all operating on the left-hand side sometimes. There's a bit more support from Ewula. So joining in there.
Here is Asamoah. Ewula tries the back heel for Asamoah. A hit from Tete is blocked. And Salim will put one through for Kelvin Obin. It's up against Hamza Musa. That's some tough defending from the centre back, and he wins the foul after a push on him by Kelvin Obin. Good defending from Hamza Musa.
He does it brilliantly. No way, no chance at all for Kelvin Obin. Just could see him heckling him, had his hands all around him, and I think that was a good call. You talk about the players with speed, and Kelvin Obin is in one.
Here is Kofi Asamoah. Finds Angel Ewula on the edge of the box. It's a lovely turn and a good drive, but it's headed away by Amu Mensah, and Wonders have a corner.
Sweet skill, lovely, lovely skill by Ewula. The smile on his face. Let's see that. He does it with some cheeky ease there between two players. I think that's some brave defender. You could see the strike with so much power behind it, but I think to just intercept that one with your head, yeah, I knew definitely Amu Mensah would be feeling the impact, you know, of that strike from Ewula. It was brave. You hardly see players, you know, do that. That's total commitment and dedication, but it really came at a cost.
Corner for 11 Wonders. Corner taken straight to Felix Che. Some 11 minutes into second half action. 56 in total. Medeama hanging on to those two goals by Kelvin Obin and Salim Adams. Here is Apia. Loses possession, but he gets the foul in the end after that tackle from Festus Nkrumah. Deemed to be a foul by Robert Muse. Richard Appiah can't go past Hamza Musa. Is a goal kick.
Again, trying to go a bit more expansive there, Medeama. Could see that there was so much space up front there on the right-hand side for Appiah to just attack. But a good play there by Hamza Musa. At this point, you would understand why there's been a drop in tempo. Now, Medeama trying to be a bit more cautious. The most important thing for them is to secure 3 points here. And for Wonders, they know what's coming right after the final whistle goes.
Here is Salim Adams. Final touch coming off Salim, to the disappointment of the Medeama fans, hoping it was going to be advantage Medeama.
And for Edu, he's quite not happy with, the execution of the plan from his boys. It's been a bit flat. I think they were the best side in the first 15 minutes, and since then they've been second best in every department. We saw some good flashes, some good runs from Asamoah at the right-hand side, but since then, not really seen anything promising until Ewula had that huge strike.
Here is Issa for 11 Wonders. Tries to switch to Kofi Asamoah. Good control by Asamoah. He's got Bafu to beat, but the ball had traveled over the line. Assistant referee right there raising the flag, indicating ball had crossed the line.
I think it did. I think it just did. Yeah, it was a lovely control with his chest, but just look at that. Yeah, that ball had traveled across the line, and
here's Mubarak Yusuf to Bafo. Now for Joe. Salim is all alone and wants the ball. Asmante finds Jacob Amu-Mensah. Here is Salim Adams. He's trying to pick out Derek Fojo. The idea was good, but the execution not that spot on.
quite a long pass.
Wonders coming up with double substitutions. Desmond Tete and Angela Wula for Raouf Muna. And Matthew Mensah. Matthew Amponsa for Ewula. Medeama would want to equally respond, but not at the moment. 60 minutes here in Takwa at the TNA Stadium. It is Medeama Sporting Club 2-11 Wonders 0.
It's quite shocking. Malolidu's decision to withdraw Ewula. It's been by far the most outstanding player in attack, together with Kofi Asamoah.
Very shocking decision, huh?
Yeah, but perhaps for Desmond Tete, it's a bit understandable. It's not really used, his strength. He's been bullied by the two centre-backs of Medeama, but not Ewula.
Here's Amponsa, his first involvement, but Amu-Mensah is too tough a customer for him. That's reckless. That's reckless from Afura Paul. Salim gets the free kick his way.
You had no business just throwing your foot that high, especially when you have no chance of winning that ball. And Salim had to sway a bit, not to attract that contact. That being a huge impact.
Goalkeeper Joseph Ban is taking off his gloves, now taking off his football boots. It's been attended to by the medical team of Wonders Medeama, indicating intentions to bring on 2 new players, Richard Owusu and God knows Jack Pasu, coming in to replace Fuzi Taylor and Emmanuel Mante. And it was Jack Pasu who scored the first goal for Medeama in that fixture against 11 Wonders in the first round at the University of Ghana. The former Tamale City man, God knows Jack Pasu. He struggled to tie down a first-team place in this Medeama talented midfield setup.
It now looks more like a bit part player, a role player in this star-studded setup now. No, under Ibrahim Tanko, and you can never ignore his quality. He's a quality player, but you look at that midfield trio of Salim Adams, you look at Fuzi Taylor, and then also Manuel Manti, and it's so difficult for him to displace any of them. And you can see Emmanuel Edu, he's quite passionate about what he does, and you barely see him sitting right when the whistle goes, and he's always on the touchline trying to instruct the players, and quite an emotional man as well, always just showing that with his mannerisms on the touchline. But I think he's been a great coach to that Wonder setup. The 2 wins so far all came under his tutelage, and I think he's been great for them. Even though they'll be going back, there's a high possibility they are headed back. I think he deserves some credit.
Derek Forjo for Medeama. Jack Pasu to Salim. Lovely skill by Forjo. He's up against Asamoah. Here's Bafo to Owusu. Mubarak Yusuf. Salim returns the ball to Apia. Here is Jacob Mensah. Can find Obin. Amponsa gives away possession to Yause. Seems to have taken a knock, goes down, but it's 11 Wonders hoping to get 1 goal. Here is Isa. Can't go past Amu Mensah. That's some solid defending from the Medeama centre-back, but Muse whistles to halt play for Osei to be attended to. Suffered from an alien tackle.
Yeah, I think he was caught a bit late. Well, again, that was the ball. There was some strong defending there by Amu Mensah. You could see Osei, the right back, had moved out of position. Been tackled to the ground then. He does so well to cover up Jacob Amu Mensah.
Goalkeeper's trainer Isaac Kamwako having a word with his head coach Ibrahim Tanko, and on the other side is Edu, who seemed to be shouting out instructions to Edmond Afurapo, the centre-back. Substitution for 11 Wonders. They are bringing on Miller, and they've taken off Farouk Amiao. Hakeem Miller in for Farouk Amiao.
Yeah, Farouk Amiao on a yellow card already. I think it was a precautionary measure. Losing 2-0 is far better than losing another man at this point.
Hamza Musa. Festus Nkrumah. Mohamed Isa. Medeama still topping in terms of possession. 60 against the 40 by 11 Wonders. But the goals remain the same, 2 for Medeama. None for 11 Wonders. Medeama pushing for a third. Hakeem Miller has the ball down to Apia. Now Jack Basu to Bafo. Now Derek Forjaw goes past his marker. Forjaw, Ousu, Salim. Forjaw goes down. Musa whistles, free kickers. Mohamed Isa brings down Derek Forjaw for a Medeama free kick.
Yeah, strong play there, but again, he's making good use of the small little pockets of spaces. They're exploiting them all by himself, and he has that penchant for maneuvering his way in tight spaces, tight situations there. I think it was a bit physical from Isa there on Forjaw. And today, we've not really seen him play from the left-hand side as usual, and I think that the tactical plan has been for him to drop deeper sometimes.
Playing without the services of Kelvin and Kroma in today's game, Medeama. They get another free kick. This time, Muse will caution Jibril, who is claiming innocence, as Apia stays down.
He keeps protesting there, Jibril, saying, yeah, he had nothing to do with it, but I think, yeah, that was a bit naughty there from Jibril Mohammed. Oh, that extended elbow there, just catching Pia in the chest. Talk about Jibril himself, he's already, I think
It's like
Musa,
to be playing without the card,
yeah,
Jibril.
he is, and that was. Yeah, you can't sometimes understand the frustration of these 11 Wonders players. They've been dominated totally throughout the game by Medeama Sporting Club, and this is where you need to keep your composure as a player.
He was a starter for this team, the Premier League, but seemed to have lost that place in recent times. Abdul Salam.
Yeah, another important piece to some important goals for them.
For Medeama, straight to Joe Miles. That's Kelvin Obin, frustrated. He loves those balls that can get him. Here is Asamoah. Derek Forjaw trailing him is. And Kroma is in between two defenders. Ousu to Salim. Finds Apia. Returns the ball to Yao. Only as far as Salim would not. Offside's delivery was good, but connection.
Yeah, and we are not seeing Medeama throw moment forward now. It's been all about game management for them instead of trying to go in search of a third.
Apia. The celebration has cost him, but he's still chasing on. Musa. Isa. Jibril. Aidina Asamoah to Isa, brought down by Owusu. Free kick, 11 Wonders. What is getting him animated?
It's the reaction. You know, I think that the players are just taking one too many touches, and you know, they've been slow whenever trying to transition the ball, and that's why, you know, he's really vexed on the touchline. He just believes you just have to make it simple. It's just those simple passes to your teammate who is free. That's what Wonders are failing to do at this point. You just can't begrudge the head coach, you know, for expressing himself that way.
Eddie Afurapo, Jibril. Now Issa is trying to pick out Matthew Amponsa, but it's who gets the ball away from Medeama. There's a push on Salim by Issa. Free kick, Medeama.
Yeah, and just keep fouling. They keep committing, you know, just simple, easy fouls. They're allowing Medeama to just, you know, relax and just play this game at their own tempo. You can only imagine if that's the last kick of the dying horse we're seeing now.
The last kick of a dying horse. It reminds me of one Ghanaian coach who I'm struggling to figure out.
Yeah, I could tell. I knew you were going to get out.
Abubakar Damba during his days at Karela.
It's the most dangerous kick, actually.
The last kick of a dying horse.
The last kick of a dying horse. And more, like, you know, a bit more physical, you know, just putting everything into it, and you know, just giving away too many cheap fouls to Medeama Sporting Club.
Here is a moment to Salim Adams. Shows too much of the ball to Nkrumah, but it is the final touch from Nkrumah that hands Medeama another throw in. Hakim Miller to Mohamed Issa. Afurapo. Matthew Amponsa loses out to Desmond Bafo. Here is Owusu. He's got so much space in front of him. Fojo has made it around to the left. He still hangs on to possession. He finally gets to Fojo. Fojo can't go past Edmond Afurapo. Cut off an hour remaining in this fixture. Is a foul on Issa committed by Osei. Had to take that one for the team.
Yeah, but earlier on, I think it was just over elaboration on the part of Richard Owusu. Just hanging on to that ball where could have just slotted one onto the path of, you know, Fojo, who was making that forward run.
Medeama on top with 2 goals with some 15 more minutes to go.
Another run made too early there by Muna. Getting cut off-sided. You know, for Medeama, even though they are not pushing for the 3rd goal, they are still pushing forward, playing with the high line.
Medeama's Jacob Amumensa has gone down, same as that's the tackle on Amumensa.
Yeah, it gets a chunk of the ball, but then again, lips it late.
It was Rauf Muna with a late challenge on Jacob Amumensa. Muna is apologetic and stays on. So that's how physical Wonders have been. 24 fouls committed against Medeama, 6 throughout the game.
That's quite a lot. And yeah, talk about the fact that they've not had enough possession. They've been left, you know, chasing shadows.
These fans could finally smile again.
Yeah, at least, you know, for the first time in 6 weeks, you could go to bed thinking that, yeah,
title ambitions are back on track.
Back on. They just needed this, and you know, proud to get in the first goal. We saw how it was dawning on them. 6 games without a win. It takes away so much, especially your confidence, individually and collectively. But until that first goal came in, then Salim Adams added the second, and you could see that, some pressure, some load, has been taken off their shoulders.
Young Medeama fans find themselves in the stands hoping their team are back on top of the league log. God knows Jack Pasu. Mubarak Yusuf. Fuzi is off, and his replacement has done a great job in that midfield as Apia, but that's God knows Jack Pasu runs into that bad tackle from Rauf Muna. Second time he's coming up with a nasty challenge in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, certainly, and this time Muse would have to flash a card. Earlier on, it was on Amu Mensah, caught him on the knee, and just look at that again. Oh, yeah, you could
that
see
must be
why,
painful.
It should be. It should be, especially when he's in motion, and you could feel, you could smell that element of frustration amongst every single Wonders player this afternoon.
Afurapo shepherds the ball out to prevent Forjo from causing any problems. Jacob Mensah went in hard on that one. Isa Edmonda for a pole. Here is Festus in Chroma. Mohamed Isa. Hakeem Miller swings one in, he goes straight to Desmond Bafo. Also is pushed down by Matthew Amponsan for a free kick to Medeama, who prepares to introduce Nana Kofi Bebil. Bebil scored against 11 Wonders in the first round. He actually scored the winning goal when Medeama were drawing that game. Kelvin Obin has been taken up. That's the look from his opening goal. Beautiful header. Kelvin Obin, first Premier League goal for Medeama Sporting Club.
It certainly punishes them, and another super sub for Medeama. Loves to make impact whenever he comes off the bench.
Yeah, Kofi Babil, yeah?
Kofi Babil. It seems to be a nudge at the back, yeah. A little bit of a push there on Eden Kofi Asamoah. It's also gone missing, since the 20th minute mark or so. We've not really seen those mazy runs, those flicks and tricks, a bit of chicanery as well. And maybe thinking, Wonders stopped being dominant ever since they stopped playing through, him in attack.
So this is actually Kelvin Obin's second goal for Medeama. He scored against Hoho United in that defeat at this venue. He was Medeama's lone goal scorer in that defeat that deepened the woes of Medeama in that slump to second spot.
Yeah, they could look back and feel that was the game where, everything just started to, go down for them. It was just a game for them to take all 3 points. But you also credit Hull United for that spirited performance here on this pitch. To play with 10 men, and just overcome this Medeama team doesn't come so easy.
First 2 goals for the club coming in front of the home fans, but both came with mixed fortunes. The first resulted in a defeat for Medeama, but the second would just be that goal with that of Salim, sending Medeama back on top of the Premier League log.
Yeah, and this is the first time they are scoring twice in a game since that win against Carolina United here in January. Tells you they've really gone, on a very, very unwanted, run.
The last time they won a game was that 3-1 win over Karela at this venue.
Yeah, and since then they've not won any games here. Tells you that it's not really been good for them. It's not really been good. Some 7 match weeks away or ago, yeah.
Samoa. Amponsa. The foul on him by Salim Adams.
And that look on his face towards Salim Adams tells you that, yeah, it was a bad tackle by Salim Adams. Slips a bit, but tries to put himself in between Samoa and the ball. I think Muse just had to call that. Again, that's what he does when you give him the chance, when he's in his element. He just laps to trouble defenders. I think that impact must have been so painful that we thought. You can see Adu's face. Oh, what a passionate man he is. You're still wondering if he would still love to be with his team throughout.
Some fans taking shade with the umbrellas with the scorching sun here in Takwa with some 5 minutes to go. Hopefully they endure till the next 5 minutes and stoppage time to step out.
Yeah, well, it's worth it. It's worth it, yeah. We've seen some light showers as well. Well, I don't think that's really impacted the game like the heavy ones we saw here when Medeama played against Diana. A game that actually, made the strategy a bit more complicated for them.
85 minutes. Medeama 2, 11 Wonders 0. Medeama's next game is against Bechem United away in Bechem. Miller's delivery over the bar. It goes for a goal kick to Medeama. Wonders already out of the top flight technically, and from this result officially will be at home against Hull United, another team struggling to escape relegation.
That could also be a huge game. And if there's one thing you take from this Wonders team, even though they knew they would be relegated, even after or before the end of the first round, tell you what, I just don't think they've gone into any game without showing promise. It looks like they know they're certainly going down, but they wouldn't go down without putting up a fight, and that's what we've seen them do week in, week out. Last weekend it was a 2-2 draw, a pulsating one against Samatics, and they were just trying to ride at the back of that to frustrate Medeama in this game. But I think Medeama has shown so much quality and class so far.
Four minutes from the end is Medeama 2, Wonders 0. Miller. Asamoah. Issa, to his namesake, Issa, too much power on that ball, but Muse whistles because Medeama have a player down. And see, I will say again, the right back.
Looks like he took a hit
Sure.
to the face.
Seems to be complaining of some dizziness there.
It's been the most, terrible, difficult place for them to move the ball or even advance. Yeah, that was it again. And the elbow of Aiden Kofi Asamoah just catching him on the face. I think it's been some good management, game management by Ibrahim Tanko. And certainly you'd know that the most important thing from this game was the 3 points, and he's still looking at that game at an Anafusu Jiabo.
Jack Pasu. Owusu. These days, Prince Owusu is struggling to have an influence in this Medeama setup. He used to be the poster boy and darling boy in the early and middle stages of the league. He caught the attention of Otuado, called him up for the Black Stars, but he's nowhere to be found in this setup.
Yeah, I think as a consistency now, he's been, somewhat inconsistent. You look at how consistent Tanko is, even with a setup. You talk about the midfield trio where he doesn't want to touch because he feels they give him what he wants. So I think for Prince Owusu, there's still more to do. There's still a lot more to do for a player of his caliber if he wants to gain the attention, of Otuado again.
We're into the final seconds of 90 minutes. Amponsa going down from the challenge of Richard Appiah. Jibril. Confirmation of additional time by fourth referee Frank Joni Makun. 4 minutes. Mubarak Yusuf caught ball watch and allows Wonders to take over, but it's Babil who picks it up again for Medeama. Now Fojo, Babil, Hakeem Miller does well to recover for 11 Wonders. There's a tussle for the ball, but he's got a final touch and committed himself. It's a corner for Medeama. Left dejected with that decision to shepherd the ball only for Babil to get a better of him to concede that corner. Here is Osei. He's lost possession. Matthew Amponsa also overruns the ball and it goes out for a throw to Medeama. For Joe, body checks Jibril and gets the advantage. He's trying to kick the ball and get the advantage for a possible touch from the Wonders defender. The idea was to kick the ball against Hakeem so he gets the corner. We're into second minute of the 4 additional minutes. Medeama 2, 11 Wonders 0. Beautiful skill by Derek Forjaw. But it's a lovely tackle by Jibril. He ends up handling the ball in the process and commits a foul. But Forjaw stays down after that tackle. It looked good at this point until he handled the ball for that foul. The Red Cross personnel have already stepped onto the field to take Forjo on the stretcher away. Clock is ticking to the final minute of the 4th stoppage. Minutes added by Muse. Desmond Bafo has been decent since stepping in for Fatal Sulemana. Here is Owusu. Jack Basu. Lovely ball to Osei. Jacob Amumensa. It is Osei. Tries to backheel the ball to Salim Adams. And referee Robert Muse whistles for the end of the game here at the TNA Stadium in Takwa. Medeama finally back to winning ways after 6 weeks without a win, 3 defeats and 3 draws. Lost their top spot on the Premier League log to BBN Gold Stars following that defeat last week against Dreams in Tuba. They've returned to the TNA and they've beaten the bottom place club 11 Wonders by 2-0. Opening goal by that glancing header from Kelvin Obin, and the thunderbolt strike from Salim Adams returns Medeama to top spot of the league log. It's Medeama who have done the business to appease their fans after 6 weeks of disappointment in the Ghanaian top flight. They've beaten Wonders by 2-0 and back on top of the league, waiting for the outcome of that weekend game between Karela and Gold Stars in Tamale. But here at the TNA, it's all smiles for the Takwa faithful. Salim Adams can afford to gulp down some water after that magnificent strike that has earned him the man of the match here at the TNA. It's full time in Takwa. Medeama Sporting Club 2, 11 Wonders 0.
All right, so our first game in match week 27 of the Ghana Premier League ends in favor of the host, Medeama Sporting Club, with a 2-0 win over 11 Wonders. It was a solemn display, but then they still managed to snap that 6 winless or 6 games without a win in the Ghana Premier League, and they are now top of the table momentarily until Gold Stars plays on Sunday. But for 11 Wonders, officially, they are out of the league for the 2026-27 season. I'm now here with the head coach of the losing side, 11 Wonders, Coach Emmanuel Edu. Coach, commiserations, but how would you sum up this game?
Well, I think the boys did not play to instructions, and as you can see, even in the second half, the opponents could not even cross our defense. You saw that. So instead of we attacking, I don't know, they did not listen to play to instructions. That is all. That's all.
It was a game where in the first 15 minutes you played on the front foot. You caused so many problems. What happened? What changed? Then all of a sudden you're on the back foot. Then you concede one goal. The next goal, it's game over.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Right from the beginning of the game, you saw it. We were attacking. You know, at least we had 1 or 2 shots. And after that, they went to sleep. You know, they were not going. They were just stagnant, not moving forward. Passing from, instead of we were passing and giving the true balls were not coming. Just passing that square passes and that stuff. And I think it did not help us. So,
officially, after this defeat, you've been relegated back to the Division 1. How are you taking that? How are you processing that?
Yeah, but I think we are not the first team, and it will not be the last team to be relegated. That have been relegated, but that's not the end of the road. You keep on. It's a competition, and we need to compete to the end. It's not over until it's over. So we'll keep our heads up and keep on playing.
And finally, you see a future with this team in the Division 1?
Yeah, absolutely. With the Division 1, I think we've already started our, what do you call it, major transition, you know, as to how we will, you know, be able to, you know, deal with the Division 1 and come back. So we're still working and see what the future has for us.
Thank you very much for your time. Commiserations once again.
Thanks
so
so
that's the
much.
head coach of 11 Wonders, Emmanuel Edu. Very, very tough pill to swallow there after losing to Medeama Sporting Club. And as we speak officially, 11 Wonders won't be playing in the Ghana Premier League next season. But now with me is the coach of the winning side, that's Ibrahim Tanko. His side just snapped a 6-game winless streak here, and as we speak, they are top of the table. Coach, congratulations, back to the top of the table until the Gold Stars play. But how do you feel about this performance?
No, I think it was really, really important for us and the 3 points because, like you said, 6 games without winning. It gives a bit pressure, but I think with this performance and the 3 points at home, I think we can do something with it.
But talking about the performance, yeah, the 3 pointers that we saw the game management taking off players like, you know, Fuzi, Brai, a couple of players. Is it the sort of performance you're looking at that would actually propel you into the next game away from home?
Oh, yes, I think, I mean, like I said, the performance was good. I mean, we control almost all the game, and then we scored 2 beautiful goals. Like I said, and then we have to, I mean, swap Mante, Fuzi, and Brai, because definitely they have something and that we don't want to risk. But I think those who came in did very well as well.
But we saw the second goal. You know, since Camaradini left, it looks like your most trusted player to get you the goals is Salim Adams. And you saw the goal. What do you make of that goal? And it looks like it's becoming a trademark goal for him.
No, I think, and we all know the strength of Salim when it comes to free kick like this. And I think when the ball comes, I only tell him to try, and I think he has that capacity. So I'm happy for him. I hope that he will continue.
You are disappointed he didn't get a call up to the Black Stars?
Oh no, I don't think I have to be disappointed. I think the coach knows what he's doing. I mean, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure that when we are going to the World Cup, definitely you will see 1 or 2 local inside.
But then it's Bechem away from home. Now you are top of the table. What are you looking at doing now?
No, I think we have to look at our games. Like I said, we still have, I think, 8 games now. So definitely we have to look at our own game and then make sure that we get some good points away and then home. Then definitely we are there to win it.
Thank you very much for your time and congratulations once again. So that is the Medeama Sporting Club head coach. He feels a bit relieved because his side went 6 games without a win in the league. Now they've won and they are back to the summit. But then Kerala will also be taking on Gold Stars. I'm now here with the man of the match. What a goal he scored. This guy is just becoming so unbearable for goalkeepers in the league. Congratulations, Salim Adams.
Thank you so much.
But first of all, you were in this team. You were top of the table for 9 straight weeks until you went 6 games without a win.
Yeah.
Now you've won. How do you feel about the performance of the team?
Honestly, I think we all felt disappointed. Like we played like 6 games without a win here. You can see from my reaction when I scored, like I wasn't happy because I felt we have disappointed our fans. Yeah, honestly.
So what does this win do to you personally and the entire team?
Yeah, I think this win is gonna push us to the Bechame's game. Yeah, so back to winning ways.
But talk to me about that goal. Now, it looks like whenever you put the ball down, everyone thinks, yeah, he's going to strike it, and he will score. Do you practice that, or it just comes naturally?
Yeah, I do practice a lot. Yeah, I usually come to training early, so I can, like, when we started the season, I was shooting, but I wasn't scoring. Yeah, so I decided to train more about that.
Because we saw the first one, you passed the ball to Fatah. But what came into mind before you hit that one? Were you targeting the top, or you just wanted to kill the goalkeeper?
They thought I was going to pass to Fatah again, but no, I went for the power.
You went for the power.
Yeah.
Now you've won, and personally, what are you looking at improving on your side?
I think we have to improve on our game generally, yeah, and we have to win all the rest of the games. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Congratulations,
Thank
Salim Adams. He scored a beauty from a free kick, and that made it 2-0 to Medeama Sporting Club, and that has been the story after 90 minutes here at the TNA Stadium, where Medeama Sporting Club, they took all 3 points at the expense of 11 Wonders. But then I've now been joined by my pundit, Bismarck Von D, to have the post-match discussions here after Medeama Sporting Club managed to win their first game in 7 match weeks. Bismarck, how do you sum up this performance by the title chasers, Medeama Sporting Club?
Yes, I believe the most important thing of the day, that's the 3 maximum points, has been bagged, and kudos to the team. For the next action is just for Medeama Sporting Club to hope that Gold Stars falter against Kerala in Tamale, so that they remain on top of the summit, just like what's happened after this particular game, where Medeama is now leading the table.
But for 11 Wonders, officially, it's over for them in a top flight. You'd say, they did their best. They had, to some extent, a good season, or they just didn't put things right?
Yes, I believe they just couldn't put things right. 10 points from some, after some 27 matches, it's too bad a performance. Look at the difference between them languishing at the bottom and then the team just above them, Young Apostles, 20 points difference. Young Apostles are having 30 points, and then 11 Wonders, 10 points, 20 points difference. Even in the last 7 matches, if Wonders are able to win all the 7 games, that is 21 points. It pegs them around 31 points, which is not too good for them to remain in the league. And I believe they just need to regroup and then go back to the Division 1, prepare well, and then come back to the Premiership in the next 2 seasons.
But for Medeama now, it's a 1-point gap between themselves and second place Gold Stars, who would be going to Kerala, on Sunday. You think that sets up an interesting finale, in the Ghana Premier League?
Come again.
I'm asking if, this 1-point gap until Gold Stars go away, could this be an interesting, final stages of the Ghana Premier League?
Definitely. And come next week, Kotoko are coming to Takwa here. And that one is going to be one of the few games that is going to decide the league.
Yeah.
And whereas Gold Stars will be playing at home, it is going to be a ding-dong affair. Whereas maybe this week, Medeama Sporting Club will be on top. The following week, they'll be on second on the league table, because the fixtures that are coming up is one of the few fixtures where it is going to decide most of the games, especially those in the top 4. Kerala, just like you rightly said, they're also knocking at the top 4.
Yeah.
They are fifth on the GPL table.
Yeah.
When they win against Gold Stars in the next round of matches on Sunday coming, they will be in the top 4.
Yeah.
So definitely it's going to be a cagey game between the two sides over there.
But what should we also be looking at, especially with our man of the match who I just spoke to, Salim Adams? What do you have to say about that performance and the sort of goal he scored?
You know, it is his trademark. Scoring such goals is one of the few things where, I mean, you can't just write Salim Adams off. He's fond of scoring such goals, especially at the TNA Sports Stadium here. But for me, one of the few players where I think he needs to be commended is Jacob Amu-Mensah, the defender. He has the knack for goals. You know, at a point in time, I was seeing him much of the time in the 18-yard box of 11 Wonders. I'm so surprised he didn't win the match of the man of the match. But then, well, Salim Adams won it, and kudos to him.
Well, so that's the first goal being scored by Kelvin Obing over there, you know, to give Medeama the lead until Salim Adams also had to step up and just struck that ball from quite a distance, and that's the goal over there. You know, we saw the first move where he had to cut the ball into the path of
Fatao Sulemana.
But this one was quite different.
You know, the second one, everybody thought the ball was going to Fatao again, but then I knew Salim was going for the kill, and indeed the ball went straight to the goalkeeper, but he couldn't do anything with the ball, and then it banged into the net. This is his trademark.
This is certainly his trademark. But let's talk about the coach. Pressure off his shoulders now?
Yes, I should say the pressure is off his shoulders, but then it will all depend on Sunday's game. If he's able to remain on top, it means the pressure will ease down. But then if Gold Stars are able to win away to come top of Medeama Sporting Club, the story will just be the same.
Certainly. So the narratives could be changing from now till match week 34 in the Ghana Premier League. But then we brought to you the first game, the Friday kickoff game here from the TNA Stadium, where Medeama Sporting Club managed a 2-0 win over 11 Wonders. Medeama are back at the top until Gold Stars play on Sunday. But for 11 Wonders, they've kissed bye-bye to the Ghana Premier League next season. Thanks so much to Bismarck Vondi, who joined us on pitchside with his incisive analysis there. And thanks to you out there who also made time to watch this presentation. Proudly produced by Adasa Productions Limited. My name is Josal Kukwe, and see you on Sunday at Accra Sports Stadium, where Accra Hearts of Oak will be taking on Swedro All Blacks. Bye for now.
Provision of adequate and reliable supply of petroleum product and reduce the country's dependence on crude oil imports, charting in the process.